Welcome back to the shop. It is springtime, but spring hasn't sprung yet, so we're still waiting on some nicer weather. It is windy and rainy, and that's all part of the way it is here in Indiana. But it's great to be with you here in the shop today. I've got a project here. More of anything, it's a show and tell, I guess, instead of a project. I do want to give a shout out though to so many of my viewers. You guys have come through with flying colors, giving me all kinds of advice and sharing your knowledge with some of these tools. Somebody shared with me that this Utica right here is not just a jeweler's, but also a gunsmith's pliers. And so I thought that was neat to know and appreciate that. So we'll clean that up one of these days. Somebody else mentioned that this Montgomery Ward wrench, that this thing is probably a utility wrench that came with some kind of apparatus or implement or something. It may have been in the box. Much better quality than what you see now that comes in some of the things from IKEA and different assembly required furniture and tools. You'll get this cheap little screwdriver and a little flat stamped wrench, and that's about it. And so one of these days I want to clean this up as well. You may remember the video that I did on this wrench right here. It's no springs, but it's still a ratcheting tool, and it was really neat and had you guys giving me advice and information on this. It's been great, but I want to bring you down here on the bench and let's go a little bit further with this one. All right, so after the video of sharing with you about these wrenches that I had redone, I had a viewer get a hold of me, a Sean from Northern Indiana, a friend of this channel, and he said, I think I've got one of those double-ended half-inch extensions. And he said he went to his grandfather's toolbox and found one of these, and I thought, man, that is great. So you can see here how this goes in right there. The ball, the spring in there, I don't know if the spring is all gone. The ball doesn't come out, so the little detent doesn't grab right now. What I am going to do is I think I want to come back here and put a little tack weld right there so that that won't go any further than that. But I'll have to do that some other time. But you can see here where you put your socket on there. You can have the nut that you want to drive, and once you get that set, you can just make that work, and it works wonderfully. So I sure do appreciate, Sean, you being willing to send this in. I am going to clean this up a little bit, and we'll put it up there on the wall with the rest of our things here. So after Sean got back to me and told me that he'd gone to his grandfather's toolbox to find this nice little extension, I got to thinking about something, because I have been cleaning up here around the shop, and I've been finding tools that were my grandfather's. And so I thought maybe every so often we'll do a video on Granddad's tools, because I found a toolbox that belonged to him, and I found this little tool here that I want to share with you from him. And these are all Granddad's tools, and you guys can weigh in the comments if you've seen some of these tools as we go through them, or if you have some tools that mean something to you because they belong to your grandfather as well. So I'm going to bring you down here and we'll take a look at this, and we're going to give it a good cleaning. It's dusty and greasy and grimy. That's one of the things Granddad, he used his tools a lot. And so we'll show you what we've got here. So here's what I found in Granddad's tools. It is, to me, it's just really cool. The ingenuity of it, the compactness of it. Just grab it. It's basically pocket wrenches, pocket sockets, and I really like them. They need cleaned up. They've got a lot of grease on them. There's a lot of dust and dirt. You can see all the dust that's in there. But it's really neat how this thing was designed. You can see here that this is an Allen wrench, but it has a ball detent right there and one right there. And you slide it in there and you press it down in, and it actually snaps into place. So it doesn't just fall apart. You can throw that around in a toolbox and it's not going anywhere. So you pull that out, you take out the Allen wrench part, and then this just swings to the side. There's a rivet right here and a rivet back here. Swings out, and you can take this and you can just snap these on there, and you've got yourself a wrench. I think that is neat. So you can just snap it on either end that you want to use, and then you can work with it. Let's grab this here. We used it in another video, and you can see you can just put that on there, turns it right down or loosens. And so you've got yourself a set of pocket tools. So let's clean these up, and then we'll get some final pictures on this. Well, these little projects right here were a lot of fun. I love going back and visiting Granddad's tools. I hadn't thought of that until recently. I'm always out at flea markets looking for old vintage tools from somewhere else, and I got to thinking, what about right here in my own shop? My father passed away about 5 years ago. My grandfather passed away about 15 years ago. And so those tools from my grandfather were handed to my dad, and my dad gave them to me, and I started looking in some of the nooks and crannies and started coming up with some of these neat things. Once again, shout out to Sean. Thanks so much for sharing this with the channel. We're going to put it right up here on the wall so it can be displayed proudly. And then we'll take this one and we'll set it up right over here. All right, thanks again for joining me on this. This is so much fun to share it with you, and glad you came along. Hope to see you on the next video. Have a great day. God bless.